The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. Now God sent a man, John the Baptist, to tell about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. John himself was not the light. He was simply a witness to tell about the light. The one who is the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. He came into the very world he created, but the world didn't recognize him. He came to his own people, and even they rejected him. That's how it is sometimes to try to talk to a child, and they reject what you're saying because they don't realize that you love them and you have the very best intention of living with them, directing them, showing them pathway. But then he says something very specific here in verse 12. He says, but to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave the right to become children of God. Now, this means something, because you are not a child of God until you believe the things he's saying and accepted his will for your life. Man, this is deep. Key point number one, write this down, we'll talk a little bit more. Although we are all God's creation, we are not all his children. And to be the Lord's anointed, we must first be his child. Don't get it twisted. Although we're all God's creation, we're not all his children. And to be the Lord's anointed, we must first be his child. Now, some people, they're running around thinking they're the Lord's anointed when they are the Lord's disappointed, because they're not following his way, his will. They're not in service to him. They're not loving people. They're not shining their light. They totally unscrew their bulb. And sometimes they have their bulbs in place, but they're not plugged into Jesus, which is the true source of power. FPL, the power company, they call it the power company, but they're the electricity company because they provide us with electricity. But God gives us power. Don't get it twisted. If the lights go out, we still have power. I wish I was talking to somebody who knows what I'm talking about. We can't lose our power based on circumstances. But if we are not properly connected to God, then the power goes out. Then all things start into a downward spiral. If we don't have a right relationship with God, we can't walk with our heads held high. No, we're going to be stressed out. The devil is going to be beating us up. We're going to be walking crunched over like this. Why? Because we are disconnected from the true power source. But when we plug into Jesus, oh, let me tell you, all things work together for the good of us who love him and are called according to his purpose. Who are called according to his purpose is anointed ones.